This is the Goulds, rich green country just south of St. John's. And this is the Williams Dairy Farm. But I must be more precise, for Williams is a common name in these parts. There's Weldon Williams, his wife Valda. They have 6 children. 4 of the girls are working, married, or in high school. This is Leanne, their youngest.
There's only 2.
Next door lives their only son and his family. Wayne. His wife Joan, and their 2 children, Tommy and Wendy. Let's have a smile, Wendy. Dairy farming today is highly mechanized. It's part science, part business, blended with years of practical experience. In a way, milking has become the easiest part of it. Certainly the most routine, for machines now take the milk from the cows and carry it along to the cooler. 400 gallons a day comes from this farm. Ironically, today's farmer barely sees the milk his cows produce, and his hands never touch it. But despite all the modern equipment in the barn, the cows themselves are still flesh and blood. They still have to be cared for, fed, cleaned, and after milking, let out to pasture. Out they come from the barn, an unending stream of happy Holsteins. These animals are worth a lot of money. Farmers pay up to $2,000 for a month-old heifer with good bloodlines. And they'll travel to auctions all over eastern Canada to find them. Breeding is carefully controlled. You won't notice any bulls wandering around this herd. It's practically all done by artificial insemination. The male parent of most of these cows came shipped in a tiny straw-like vial and probably sported a name such as Little River Mardi Gras or Black Knoll Rockman Citation. By carefully selecting and matching the most productive animals, dairy farmers have been able to greatly increase milk production. Some of the animals are real milk factories. Well, Wayne, this is one of your prize animals here,
yeah,
is it?
She's a real good cow for us. She milked approximately 16,000 pounds last year, and she's heading for a bit more this year. She's milking 96 pounds right now.
96 pounds of milk a day.
Yeah, which is fairly good here.
That sounds pretty impressive to me. Well, how does it sound to a dairy farmer?
Well, it was good. If you had a herd of 96 pound a day, you'd be quite pleased, I think. Around 50 to 60 pounds is a good average, so she's milking a little above average.
Oh, can you look at that cow and say she's a good cow, or do you have to look at the performance record?
Her performance record helps, but she got a lot of characteristics which make her a good cow. She had deep room capacity down through the lines, from tab her back down to the bottom of her stomach. Lots of depth there for that of forage. She's pretty wide behind plus in front. She's a good udder attachment.
Now all these animals, these are all yours. This is pretty well your whole herd.
Yes, 96 right there now that we were milking at the time. There's about 30 registered animals there.
It's quite a sight, isn't it? See all the animals out here. Now, how long do they graze? When do you put them out in the spring and when do you take them in the fall?
They usually go out approximately the 25th of May until the 1st of June, and then they stay out until approximately 10th or 15th of October, hopefully, the weather permitting.
And by then, I suppose the grass is pretty well all gone.
Yeah, the grass is usually gone by that time, and they're starting to be fed inside anyway, so it's almost where they leave them in. Yeah.
How delicate are the animals, Wayne?
There's times of the year that they're more delicate than realised. This time of the year when they're outside, they can handle themselves a lot better than inside. They bruise up their legs and huffs and one thing.
Do you ever lose any when they're out like this?
Very rarely. Usually if you lose 1 or 2 during the year, ordinarily be in the winter times. It attracts more sickness. Like in the winter time, they're closed in the environment. But when they're outside, it's very rarely that you lose one.
And so Wayne took us through the herd and told us about the individual animals. Breeding is usually staggered through the year so that too many calves aren't born at the same time. Some are born out in the fields, and usually all goes well. Nature simply takes its course. We were hoping to film the birth of this little one, but we were fooled. We ran out of patience, and when we came back, it was all over. Over for us, maybe, but just beginning for this little girl. She had a lot to learn. But there was another cow in the next field that seemed to be taking a long time in dropping her calf. Wayne decided to give her a bit of help. We were about to see the miracle of birth, just a normal event on a farm. But some of our viewers may not want to watch for the next 2 or 3 minutes.
Well, it's not too often that you would have to help them, but it's nice to be on hand if they do need help. And the quicker you can be of service to the cow, the better it is for the cow plus the calf. And the chance they're helping, I guess, is about one cow probably out of a dozen or 15 you might have to help. Other ones just calve normally on their own, which pretty seldom has any trouble.
Wayne, I suppose some cows just need a bit of help all the time, do they?
Some do. Sometimes the cow just gives in quite easily, and there's more times they can put up quite a fight and calve the biggest kind of calves on their own. You know? But
how long does it take now for them to have a birth once you notice they're really...
Well, from start to finish, I guess it could all happen within 2 hours anyway. They get themselves ready, and within 2 hours they should have the calf born and have no complications, right?
Tell me how you learned about this, Wayne.
Well, growing up on the farm and watching grandfather and my father doing the same thing over the years, just tend to pick up different ideas, and plus the vet is always a good help to get ideas from.
What?
There you go. There it is. And she pushes, you pull, see? Right now, I'll tell you. We're here all day waiting for this one. There you go.
I looked at that line gone bust.
And this is...
Push, cow, push.
Yeah.
Got her out there.
Good shot.
She's a
Big bird,
freaking
like I
big
said.
one too, man. That dead, is it?
Not very loud, is he?
No. It looks like he's gonna die. Oh shit. Look at her move. So what are you doing?
All the stuff down his throat, I think.
I don't get that finger wet. Bull.
Yep.
Can't have what she has. Right?
That's true. Very loud. Yeah.
Looks like nice curve on it. I'm heaven for a little while if you do that.
It's true, right?
Don't look at me.
Goodbye the 15, 16 post. Here we come. And now facing out with Weldon out to the outside of Newfoundland. 3 now with Southern River time and on the outside battleground bell. Bingo Taché down to the inside now for 4.
Some of the Williams family have a passion for horses and racing. In fact, they're part owners of 2 horses. On Wednesday night and Sunday afternoons, you'll find them at the Gould's racetrack. Wayne and his sister Judy know the horses and the drivers well. In this race, though, they're hoping for their own horse, Glencoe Taché.
3 and 2 to buy the half. We have a half of 3 and 2 now as Nippert takes into the 5/8. It's battleground bell with right time mag to the outside. Weldon is up for 4 now on the inside with Glencoe Taché. It's Breeze Lane now with Other River time. Look it on the back stretch 2 3/4. It's Nippert, battleground bell for 2 to the inside. Right time mag is up for 3 now with Weldon. They'll come now with Breeze Lane and Glencoe Taché. 135 and 1 with 5 3/4. The race had the putty turn. Here they come in Nippert. It's right time mag to the outside. Weldon now between horses. It's battleground bell. This driver's driving Nippert. Battleground bell and Glencoe Taché. To the wire, it's gonna be Nippert, battleground bell and Glencoe Taché.
Well, not bad. He didn't win, but he did place. Maybe next time. Dairy farmers need a lot of pasture land for grazing in the summertime, and a lot of hayland to feed their animals in the winter. This has always been a problem for Newfoundland farmers. Unless you can get enough land in production, you're in trouble, for the cattle must be fed through the winter, and imported hay is costly. Here in the Goulds, there's no way a farmer can expand. Urban sprawl and real estate prices make that impossible. The best the land frees can do is protect existing farmland. So to get new land into production, there's little choice but to head for the woods. And that's just what the dairy farmers of the Goulds and Kilbride have done. With the help and encouragement of the provincial government, an area of scrub forest back of Cochrane Pond is being developed. Each farmer has a parcel of land to clear. And this is a lot of work, for once the trees are gone, the rocks must be removed, and the thin soil limed, fertilized, and seeded. Looking at the land, I wondered if this miserable-looking ground could ever produce hay, but I was assured it would. In fact, Weldon told me that the next field to this, cleaned just a couple of years before, yielded 3 tons of hay to the acre, and there were parts that yielded 4 to 5 tons. I was astounded. Already, these raw, rocky fields are producing quite a bit of hay and keeping quite a few dairy cattle contented through the winter. While our soil may be thin and our growing season short, Newfoundland does offer the dairy farmer some advantages. We have a fair amount of rain, and this helps the grass grow. Of course, rain can also make it difficult to dry the grass, to turn it to hay, and that's why haymaking time is so critical. One way to lick this problem is to make silage, and in recent years, the Williamses have been doing just that. That's their silo in the background, a common sight on mainland farms, but a rarity in Newfoundland. The grass is brought to the silo by truck from the fields the day it's cut and dumped in the jiffy wagon, which chops it up and blows the pieces through a tube up into the top of the silo. Compressed under its own weight, the grass will ferment in a month or so and become silage. High in nutrition, the cows thrive on it. and it will keep for months, perhaps years, in the airtight silo. Convenient, and the cows love it. Investing in a silo is an expensive proposition. Yet in this land of unpredictable weather, it could well be worth the investment. Certainly, the Williams family is convinced of its value. But there's a lot more to dairying than milking cows and making hay and silage. Most of the paperwork is done by Weldon, and there's quite a bit of it. Well, what was it like years ago when you first got married to Weldon and started farming?
Well, we were on a much smaller scale and there wasn't as much machinery around to do the work. It was mostly all manual work then, and we just did bookkeeping with an exercise book and kept everything, account of everything the best way we could. And at the end of 12 months, you bring it out to your bookkeeper and he'll do it for your income tax purposes. That's the way it was done then, but it's not that easy today. You have to keep count of everything.
What would a normal day be for you now here on the farm?
Well, I get up 6:30 because I got children going to work. And I prepare breakfast whenever they're ready to come down. And I do whatever bookwork I got to do. If there's bills to be paid, I usually do that before dinner. And prepare meals, get children off to school, and there's so many things to do.
And what about payroll? Because you have people hired on here too.
Yeah, we have 4 people hired, and I keep the payroll and keep everything in order for my bookkeeper in the end of the month, and he takes over from there.
And with all the animals you've got here now, I mean, do records have to be kept for them too?
Yes, they have to be on records of, the record of performance, and all the papers, registered papers, now have to be kept on file, and when we need them, we know where to go and get them. Have to keep records of each cow. We have registered cows, you know.
Records of what?
Their butter fat and their milk production and things like that. And when they're due to freshen and things like that.
Now, how important is it to keep good records on a farm like this?
It's very important. Like with us with registered cattle, where we don't have that many registered. We have quite a few. We're trying to build up our herd now and registered, but it's very important to have records, and it's important to have financial records, because at least you know where you are and know what you can plan in the future. It's very important. It's just as important as milking the cows.
Joan is also involved. Her job is to keep track of the herd's performance records. How much milk do they produce? What's the percentage of butterfat produced by each cow? Farmers are paid on the basis of the butterfat content. The richer the milk, the more the money. Rather strange, I thought, in view of the amount of 2% milk on the market these days, but I suppose that's the way it's always been done. With 96 milking animals, it's a fair amount of sampling and record keeping for Joan. The information gathered by Joan in the milking barn must later be transferred to performance sheets and mailed to MacDonald College in Quebec. Here, the cows are individually analyzed and graded by computer, and the results returned. No, sir, farming ain't what it used to be.
So how I'm going to judge you today is I'm going to let you walk around the arena here a couple times.
Well, some things haven't changed. There are still fairs and trophies and field days.
Okay, what I'd like for you to do too now is try to position your calves' feet properly in the correct stance.
Try to do.
I didn't actually look at your animals at all because where they're different sizes and things. I just decided on showmanship. So number 1 is you. What's your name? Tommy Williams. Okay, yeah, you can go up there. Tommy Williams.
Shake this in. Congratulations, Tommy. You did a real good job. You're a real showman.
Thank you.
Are you going to enter again next year?
Yeah.
Are you? Good. That's
Thank
great.
you.
Yeah.
Very good, Tom.
Way to go, Tom!
Here comes the green chop. And here come the cows.
Weldon are having a great feed there today, aren't
Oh
they?
yes, they're enjoying that this time of the year.
What is it? Oats?
Those oats and barley and green peas and alfalfa all mixed up together.
Why do you feed them this special mixture now?
Well, this time of year there's nothing in the grass now, so we try to fill up the best we can of the silage and the green chop.
Well, now they're out in the field all day.
Well, this is more for exercise. You know, there's nothing out. We feed them in, but we got a bit of the green chop left, so we're using it up now while the weather's good.
October 20th. Isn't this a good fall for you farmers?
Oh, it's a wonderful, wonderful fall. Yeah. Wonderful fall.
So there's not much goodness in the grass.
Oh no, there's only just exercise we got them out for now.
Do you find that exercise now makes them produce more milk?
Oh yes, yes, they do. If you could keep them out an hour every day, you'd have wonderful herd of cattle. They want exercise. Cattle needs exercise.
How much longer now do you figure you'll be able to keep them out like this?
Oh well, week or two that'll be the most. Around 1st November we'll be putting them in for the winter.
And the silage is working okay too?
Oh, silage is wonderful, yeah.
Was that a worthwhile venture for you to put up
Oh
that
yes, indeed.
big tall tower there?
Oh yes, it's wonderful. I wouldn't be without it.
Why is it more Newfoundland farmers now haven't gotten into the silage?
I don't know. That's a good question I can't answer, you know. As Newfoundland is the only province should have silage. With the weather we have, so much.
What is the advantage of it?
Well, the advantage of it, you keep your cows in good condition, and the milk, it keeps a steady flow of milk all year round. And your feed is in the one spot. It's not like hay, you got to go all over the place, hauling it here and there, and putting it in different barns. But with that, you got enough for the winter and store it up into one place.
Do you find production now is as high this time of year as
Oh
any
no,
time?
oh no.
It's
They
awful.
fall off, they fall off. Yeah.
Why is that? Because the feed is
Well,
not...
and the weather, you know, the weather have an awful lot to do with it. It's different. They'll fall off now from October. We won't get them right back again now till after Christmas, around January month, when they get used to. We get them back to their same thing again, like they did last year.
I must say some fine-looking animals here to an untrained eye, anyway.
Oh, we have a pretty good bunch of them now. It's hard to keep them all good. You know, you pick the best, but when you get around 120, 30 head of cattle, you're bound to have a few of them that's not perfect.
So this herd now is producing quite a bit of milk every day.
Oh, yes, I'd say they're doing as best you can get out of a cow in Newfoundland. I'd say they are, you know. Well, I like to have them working for me and not me working for them. You know.
It was a long time ago that Weldon Williams' grandfather gave up fishing in Petty Harbour and bought a piece of land in the Gouls. A long time since his father, Emmanuel, turned to dairy farming. He died a few years ago at the age of 98, interested in the farm to the last. Weldon has kept it going. Dairy farming has been his life. And now Wayne has joined him. And then perhaps there'll be Tommy or the girls. 2 families, 3 generations living and working side by side, making a good living from the land, keeping up a proud tradition.